All right. Anybody else got any news items on the corporate side?
Nope.
Let's play some Queen's Court here then. Emily, you know, we do this each and every Tuesday the last couple of months. We're having a lot of fun with it. Obviously, the coaches who are here, Mark, myself, and Matt, we all bring one pick either from an investment perspective or a trade perspective, and we submit that pick to the Queen. We give some analysis behind as to why we like it, and then you get to judge whether we get to live or have our heads chopped off very violently, at least in the way that we play the game. Emily, you're up. Go ahead and, just lead the Queen's Court here.
Let's go with Mark. I want to hear what Mark has to say today.
All right. So, I like a good theme, right?
Mm-hmm.
Emily, I like a good theme and I like it develop it. And I love it when I find a theme that I think can play out for many, many months. And I love it even more when I think one can play out for many, many years. Well, about 6, 7, 8 months ago, somewhere in that range, when the company would come up and in some of the shows I did, and probably here on the halftime report, I've shared it several times, I saw a theme that I thought from a sentiment standpoint had legs that could help propel it directionally, that could keep on giving and giving and giving and giving. And I love that in a theme. It's one of the reasons I've liked the reopening theme in the last year, is because I saw a constant string of headlines that would come forward, that there would be, hey, the one we just heard, like business travel, that could play out time and time again. And so on this company about 6, 7, 8 months ago, when it became clear what the direction and the path of this company was going to be, and when I started reading in detail the CEO and other executives, they were obviously making a transition to an EV company. Their stock was cheap, and I thought there was a lot of potential. Give me Ford Motor Company. And so, I don't think it's a secret at this point anymore that a lot of the mainstream car companies are making this transition to becoming essentially EV companies. A stat I saw last week is that in the coming years, Ford sees up to 40% of their production in the EV area. Now, when they were obviously last year putting out the rhetoric that this was the direction that they were going, and I started to believe them, and this is when the stock price was at a much, much, much lower level, I was like, this is a theme that can keep on giving. Because if they are making this transition to EVs, being a very low percentage of their production in EVs to moving on up, you are going to have a string of headlines. And I remember last year talking about Ford in classes I did, be like, listen, you're going to see this headline, and there's going to be another headline, and there's going to be another headline. And along the way, some of these headlines are going to help propel and take it another leg higher. And that's kind of how this has started to play out. But I don't think we're anywhere near the accumulation of this storyline. I mean, we're just getting started. Now, I loved it at 9. I like it at its current level. But what I really like, and what I've been doing along the way, has not been playing it directionally. The premiums on Ford along the way have been pretty decent. So from a naked put side or from a covered call side, they've been pretty decent from a cash flow perspective. And I like it when I can find a stock that even after it takes a leg up and goes parabolic, breaking out of a multi-month consolidation pattern, I like where I can get good premium selling naked puts lower. Because Ford is one of these companies that is going to take these stretches up. It's going to take a leg up, take some time off, not a bad cash flow opportunity. And I know I like a stock and I know I like a theme when my biggest worry is that it takes off and prices me out of the story. I like it when I feel like I'm getting things relatively cheap. It's not as cheap, and I don't have that sensation that I did when it was at $9, 6 months ago, when it was at $8, when I was like, this is an easy cash flow decision. I don't think it is a no-brainer at this price level, but their earnings have not been too shabby relative. I think eventually they work their way back to a dividend. I think that's years in the future, but I do like the EV story still. I think from a sentiment standpoint, and that's what I look for in cash flow first and foremost. Do I have stability, either stability in the company, stability in the theme? Do I have a constant string of positivity? Let's say I get a big pullback, is another positive story around the corner. I look for that. I think Ford fits that. It has treated me very well. Once again, and I know I like something when my biggest worry is this thing could take off. And then if it's at $22, $23, then I'm probably done, because I don't feel like I'm getting just good value anymore. I don't feel like I'm getting easy manageability anymore. But the recent breakout of the multi-month consolidation that Ford had, breakouts are breakouts, right? Breakouts, and the reason Matt did a podcast on them yesterday, you can take legs up and get nice price appreciation from a directional standpoint. But I still like naked put selling them back at the breakout level. I like looking for opportunities on Ford moving forward. And I like that because this theme of the transition to an EV company, I don't think it's anywhere close to done. I think you probably have years of positive headlines ahead. And they're committed. And so I present you Ford, Queen.
Matt, give me the options chain on that again. The 13.
It's going to be hard at 13. You're getting, let's see.
So right at that resistance level where it broke out.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me get it to you. 13 is going to put you underneath the breakout channel. They don't have a 13.5, which most likely you're selling 14 here.
Yeah, full disclosure, I have 14 July naked puts. So
and that's where the analysis leads. You're just not getting it. 13 just doesn't have support fighting for you. 14 does. And 14 gets you 29 cents. I mean, it's a legitimate naked put opportunity, especially one if you feel on the weekly chart you missed the boat, which you did, right? Get you at a level right there where you can get back in if it ever does. You cash flow offset it. It's not a bad naked put.
Not a bad naked put at all.
Range, what's the ATR on it? Just do a quick Royd.
I've got, let me look it up.
You're selling,
ATR
you're getting over
cents,
2.
70 cents ATR.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I like.
Go ahead.
I'll tell you why I like Ford. I like it on a personal level because I have a soon-to-be 17-year-old daughter who has been crying and doing pretty much everything nice she possibly can because the vehicle of her choice is a Ford Mustang. So I'm sitting here going, okay, how can I start to play this and teach her how to start to cash flow on Ford and maybe pick up enough to pay for her car insurance? Because I told her, if mama's getting you the car, you're paying for the gas and the insurance. So this is more like trying a teaching lesson for my child where it's a cheap enough stock where she can start to learn how to cash flow and do little things like naked puts and covered calls on a Ford. So on a personal level, I like it for that, but I love it for your thesis. And again, it's getting into EV. It's been sitting at this range and finally broke out. Now we're, above 15, still good enough premium. I would have really loved the 13 just to give me a little bit more space, wiggle room and cushion. But if I had to do the 14, I don't mind if I have to pick it up at 14 either. So for that reason, I will let you live.
I appreciate that, my queen.
Not a bad
and may the car insurance be paid consistently.
I don't think naked puts will cover her car insurance. It will cover part of it, but I don't think it will cover her car insurance for a Ford Mustang, but we'll see.
We lost Coach Matt here. Let me bring up my screen here real quick.
Matt saw that Mark survived and
he's worried he's going to, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So Ford Mark survives. He gets to keep his head for another week. Is that right?
Yeah.
And since Matt
Absolutely.
hightailed it out of here, it looks like I have to go next. All right. Well, I love the Ford play as well, Mark. I love the analysis. I think that was fantastic. And obviously, I do think there's multi-year opportunities on Ford as it's developing. Nice little credit on those naked puts in July as
and a
well.
couple other things, even I mean, and I normally wouldn't, swing trade forward, but even on the pullback now, you can see those little candles just getting smaller and smaller as they're pulling back to that 9-day moving average. So I like it. I absolutely love it.
Yep. All right. So my submission, I assume I'm up next, Queen. I shouldn't make any assumptions. I'm going to get myself floated just on sentiment alone. I might have a great pick, great analysis. You're like, I can't stand this guy. Get him out of the court. Lop his head off. All right, so I'll go next. My pick is Dick's Sporting Goods here. Now, a couple things about the company. Number one, we've talked about it several times over the last 2-3 weeks, and I was thinking about, okay, how can I go to something of strength that I feel very, very confident in personally, that I'm watching myself like a laser, bring it to the Queen, kind of give you some of my insight and analysis, and hopefully keep my head for another week. So I've got Dick's. Now, a couple of different things on Dick's Sporting Goods. Coach Matt, who I see just did rejoin us here, he actually had Dick's earnings recently. And Matt, are you there, my friend?
Wouldn't trust me yet.
That's all right. I got a screen. I'm good, bro. But he actually broke these earnings down over the last couple weeks. May 27th, I believe, is when they reported 2 weeks ago. And on a daily basis, we're here in the halftime show with hashtag Team Tackle with the halftime crew, hanging out. Coach Matt always goes through earnings roundup. This is one of the reports that was the most notable in the last 5 weeks, in my personal opinion. Okay. Many, many different data points that just stood out to me in that. You see the price response from Dick's on that earnings report, by the way. It gapped out from $84 all the way, ran on a no sell day, basically tipped 100, showed you where the price action is going to be fighting itself. Then it consolidated for almost 2 weeks here. Okay. Dick's crushed their earnings numbers. I don't got to go through the detail. They were basically.
Can I go through the detail?
I would love to. Yeah.
Very quickly. Let me just add to it because I just want to say these numbers again.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason.
Mm-hmm.
EPS 379 against the expectation of 104. Revenue at 2.9 billion versus the expectation of 2.1. Increasing revenue by 118.9%. And that wasn't the story.
Mm-hmm.
Those numbers were not the story. Those massive beats was not the story. The 100% increase in guidance was the story.
Mm-hmm.
Massive beat. I mean, Dick's was why we changed it from the what do we call it? The triple whammy?
Oh, the hat trick. Yeah.
To the hat trick. Dick's was the hat. Dick's is the reason we call it the hat trick.
Huge beat on earnings, huge beat on revenue, and a huge increase in guidance. And part of that increase in guidance is a really simple thing that all of us can wrap our head around. Emily, they sold the stuff people like to do. Okay, golf clubs, exercise equipment, camping gear, all of those type of things. They had increases in e-commerce sales as well. Crushed the report. Matt went through it in detail. It just really stood out to me. So it's been on my radar for a while here in that regard. Couple of other fundamental metrics to think about. This company sports, with all of that growth and all of that future revenue, a 9 PE ratio. There ain't many companies in the market that are going to give you a 9 PE ratio with consistent growth and an outlook like Dick's just provided in May. Sales increases, obviously, but they also have a share buyback program they've consistently been doing for the last 5 years. That always adds to upward mobility. You can see the beautiful long-term chart, by the way. I mean, we've gone from $13 to $100. And Coach Tyler made this point when we were having that day when we were breaking down the earnings. A stock that's run this far that still maintains a 9 PE ratio, that's because earnings growth is outpacing price growth. Okay. That's incredibly strong in that regard. And here's the cherry on top. Short-term technical pattern is 100% intact. Okay. You've got a high base developing, trigger above $100. You can map out swing trades. You can map out position trades. You can map out investments. This is one that I believe should be on everybody's radar. Coach Emily, I submit Dick's Sporting Goods.
I mean, you knew I was going to love this because this is what I talk about all the time, right? And one of the things that we talk about when stocks gap on earnings is we don't want it to continue with that, with that run. We want it to kind of slow down, let the moving averages catch up to it, and look at that. What has the 9 done? It's like literally caught up to where it gapped, right? So now here we are sitting at that high base, a significant hold number in 100. What's not to love about this? And like you said, you can swing trade it, position trade it, however you want to look at this. You can play it out any direction you want to, whether you want to go directional, cash flow. There are a lot of ways you can play Dick's Sporting Goods. Options are solid, volume is good. You can't go wrong with Dick's Sporting Goods at all. It's one of my favorites. It's obviously on my watch list for that breakout above 100. So yeah, I love it. I love the technicals too. I just love how it's been sitting there for 2 weeks, just kind of just cooking. And part of trading really is just being patient, right? We get upset when stocks run up too fast and we miss it. And then, we want to chase after it instead of just being patient and waiting for it to do what it's supposed to do or what we would want it to do. And so here's Dick's presenting you that, and it's, it's a beautiful
Good.
chart.
All right. So I live.
It would
I
be
shouldn't even have asked
it would be hilarious if she said
Mark
no.
wanted it to happen so much. Didn't happen. All right.
You live.
Now, all right, Emily, do we want to go to Coach Matt next, Em? I don't ever want to presume what the Queen wants to do. So that's gotten my head chopped off before.
Matt is here, so he will present.
I will present, but I haven't made a decision. I'm looking at 5 different plays.
Oh, choose wisely.
Okay, let me ask you.
I felt choppy this morning.
You feel choppy. You feel choppy. My internet feels choppy, so it might make sense. Okay, let me ask you a question there, Queen. Because I just want to attach myself to Tim's pick. Like, I love Dick's breakout of $100. Like, post earnings, you're absolutely right. Got the time. Wonderful point to add on to Tim's. Being patient pays here, especially post earnings. Being patient pays. We always say patience is a position. Dick's patience pays out. Right? You got a pretty clean trigger above $100 on a very, very good company. And so I just want to take Tim's pick too. Can I do that? No, we can't do that. All right. So
you can take it, but you're going to get your head chopped off.
No. I typically don't want to put myself in the same zone as Tim in this game. So, but wonderful pick, Tim. Wonderful pick. Do you want a position or do you want to swing here?
I want a position.
You want a position, okay. All right, let's go. I got 2 energy plays, right? I love top-down approach to the market. You got the market perhaps breaking out. You have energy. If you can go to XLE very quickly, we've talked about the energy, got a nice little upgrade at tactical trading. We like the price action, both in terms of the breakout and then the consolidation. You got to love what's happening on the retrigger in crude oil as well. And so I think a lot of people have confidence in, the stability that energy has been providing after the breakout last week, playing defensive nature, really establishing a clean trigger at 56. And when you're looking at this sector and you say, okay, you like the analysis in the sector, you like the lining up from a defensive nature, that 56 level of resistance is lining up as well as a potential retrigger here. And then when you break down the individual components, guys, I'm not kidding. You can find a lot of clean breakouts in the energy space right now. Mm-hmm. Let's just take a look at some potential swing trades very quickly. Let's first take a look in the oil and gas EP, HES, H-E-S. Lining up a retrigger literally today on that $90. What do we say about $90 breakouts, guys?
Goes to 100.
They go to 100
of the time,
right?
Yeah.
They go to 100. Got a nice little breakout on Hess. Marathon, MRO, another EP company here. Nice little flag-based pattern, waiting for that 90 EMA. You can play this flag off support, be a little front run analysis, or you can wait for a fairly clean trigger above $14 as well here. Marathon, little high base, kind of very similar. Positive response, breakout, then consolidation. Interesting play there. You can go to the midstreams, and we've talked about Kinder Morgan in recent history, lining up a very, very clean breakout at 19. In the energy space, you can, I mean, literally, there's 7 or 8 stocks that are setting up in wonderful potential breakouts for swing trades. But you asked for a position trade, right? Let's look at something that's been consolidating a little bit longer term. And let's take, and I'm looking at 2. One was OKE. Just take a quick peek at it just to put it on people's radar. The 55 breakout from yesterday, continuation here today. That looks like a fairly clean breakout on multiple time frame analysis. You got the confirmation on the daily. Take a look at the weekly chart here on OKE very quickly. You're going to see a consolidation and a breakout of that and a fight against that 200 weekly moving average. You reclaim that. There's not a lot there to stop price appreciation here. So keep an eye on OKE. But because you guys said you love $90 breakouts, I felt like I had to find a $90 breakout.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look at FANG. FANG here, another $90 breakout. Now let's first start with the daily action. You got a little bit of neutrality over the course of the last 3 months on FANG. Little, volatile. Mark, you talked about the long range neutrality. FANG is certainly fitting into that analysis. Recently, though, FANG, very similar to the energy space, broke out of that range. And then over the course of the last week, so if FANG was responding very similar to the energy space, it still is responding very similar to the energy space. You got to like the defensive nature at 85, which is the old resistance channel in the neutrality. And so when you look at that price level at 85, you see it play support, you see it play defense right there at 85 all last week, fired off with confirmation today. Now, if you break down the intraday analysis on today's confirmation candle, you are going to see that $90 play a role here, right? You saw it fire off in the cash open. It fired off and right into resistance right there at that 90 handle. You got a really clean trigger here above 90, stop loss placement under 86 with the target of 100. Multiple time frames do align here. Intraday, the breakout of 90. The daily, the breakout of 90. Looking now at that weekly chart, coming back down to multiple time frame analysis, taking a look at that weekly chart. How do you not like what's happening on that weekly chart? You're reclaiming that 200-day moving average. Left of the chart looks fairly clean. Price projection up to 98 to 100 seems like a foregone conclusion at this point in the energy space. Nice little swing to position trade here. Might take some time to get to 100. FANG.
You're done?
Yeah.
All right. Give me the XLE ETF again one more time. So we've been talking about energy for, I don't know, weeks now, right? We've been talking about energy and just how it's just been, it's just been running, and we've had, a gazillion opportunities in the energy sector. I love where it's, sitting at right now. Again, just looking to break out. And it's really just been an ongoing thing with energy. And there are a lot of, stocks to pick from. My favorite, obviously, in this space is XOM. And everything that you showed here, Matt, they're all great candidates. Absolutely love them. But the queen always knows where to play. So she's been playing the energy sector for quite some time. So as much as I appreciate you bringing me something in the energy sector, I really loved Mark's pick on Ford and Tim's pick on Dick's Sporting Goods, because that's an area in the market that I need to add exposure to. So for anybody on Team Tackle, not that I don't love what Matt here brought with FANG, if you do not have energy in your radar or in your watch list, definitely add it to your watch list. But the queen has enough there for the queen.
Am I officially getting murdered?
The queen will not take any more energy plays today. So you are getting your head
my
chopped
internet
off.
cut out. I didn't hear anything. We're good. I survived then? I survived? Okay, we're good.
Yeah, bro, you're good.
We're
You're
good.
good. Just go
Fantastic. I thought
go see
The queen
Bob by the
has
chopping block. He's
so we
got
all-
something to say.
we all
The queen
passed
has
then,
enough
right?
energy. The queen has enough energy, doesn't need any
We
more
all
today.
passed.
So
Okay.
take your
Good.
energy somewhere else. No, it's a great pick. I already have enough exposure and energy, so I'm not looking to add anything else in that area. But for team tackle out there, this is a great pick. Even Hess, KMI, all those were great picks. I absolutely love.
There's so many.
There are so many.
There's so many in the
but
energy space.
But I have enough exposure, so I am going to reject this here thing that you presented to me, and I will chop your head off, and I'll see you next week.
So
bring something that I don't
she's
already
feeling
have on my
choppy.
plate. I felt choppy. I told you guys I was feeling choppy today.
I feel like a victim.